First thing to do is select your Flextight original holder. These are in the drawer, the top drawer in the image lab. Negative size options range from 35mm to 5 by 4 inches. You should select the appropriate holder for your negative. Then check your negatives. You may receive these as a roll initially. You will need to trim these down and put these in a negative sleeve for safekeeping. Use the magnifying loupe to check for details using the light pad. I always like to wear cotton gloves to ensure that I minimize any transference of fingerprints to the negative, which can then be difficult to clean off, and use a blower to remove any dust particles. Again, check for detail afterwards. Find the Flextight original holder that best fits your negative. To start off with, I would suggest using a single negative holder, but it might be that as you develop some skills with this, that you move to the strip holder. Align your negative carefully in the aperture window, and making sure that the magnetic cover is firmly closed over your negative to hold it tight. Turn on the scanner with the red button and carefully open the entry door. After a few moments, the film holder clip will exit the scanner, and you need to carefully place this in. Again, this is magnetic, so line it up between the two guides on the left and right. Then you need to go to the adjacent Mac, launch FlexColour, which can be found in the launch pad, and you can set up for your negative. So RGB standard is a good place to start, negative RGB standard, and if you can find your film type, all the better. It may be that you want to experiment with these because all of these are set up for a particular film type. The software is quite old. It's the only software that can be used with this scanner, but it's very, very good at what it does. You select your frame size, so make sure that's accurately selected, and it's a good idea to click the free F button, which basically allows us to have a digital negative version which is completely flexible and allows us to scan up to 1,000 megabytes in size, which basically means we're getting a huge amount of detail. Again, here you will need to select your negative options. In this case, I used Portra 400 normal contrast, and we can see here the sizes of the output. This means that if we press scan now, that we will be scanning at the highest possible quality. So give your image a name, or your images a name, and hit scan. And what will happen is the scanner will draw the negative into the scanner as it prepares. It will identify the holder. Each holder has a separate barcode, so it works out how many negatives you're trying to scan or what type of negative. It will analyze the apertures, and as it does this, it will draw the negative or the film holder inside, just to check that everything is as it should be. At this point, it is continuing to analyze the apertures. It will then optimize the focus. So the scanner uses a Rodin stock lens, high quality Rodin stock lens, and it will optimize the focus to give the best possible focus. And finally, it will just do a final check to prepare before it scans a free F file. So this is going to take some time, and at this point I'm going to quickly fast forward to the next important section. So we can see here that slowly, very slowly indeed, that the negative is near completion. The grey bar at the bottom of the image identifies how much more time is left. So generally, for a 3F scan for a 6x7 negative, you're looking at around 5 minutes per negative. So it's a bit of a waiting game, but it's well worth the wait because the quality of these is pretty extraordinary. You may notice there's a couple of dust spots in the green areas there. These can be ultimately retouched using your image editor of choice. So there, once completed, the scanner will eject the original film holder, and there we can kind of now have a look at some of the controls for correcting our image, and these include a levels collection using a histogram for the blacks, midtones and highlights. The gradations, which is a bit like a curve. You can also bring up the curve, so you can just grade your image slightly, and you can reset that to the original should you wish. There's also color corrections, so you can correct any cast that might exist on your image or try and tweak it to the best result. So all of this occurs within the 3F file. And this will take some experimentation to get the look and feel that you're after. And we can see here, if I dial down the greens on this channel, then we can shift that significantly to magenta, which looks awful, but it illustrates the point. Okay, so you can reset to the original, and you can also use the auto function, which makes some slight changes, and you're allowing FlexColour to decide on those changes. Note here the output size. So we're set up at 100%, which gives us an image which is 60 centimeters or so by 75 centimeters or so. If I resize that for just over 8 by 10, which is a fairly standard print, you can see that significantly changes the size of the file. And now if I save this, it will automatically save to documents, which essentially means that it will go to the scratch pad you can see on the desktop. You can save as a TIFF or a JPEG. I would always save as a TIFF because it's uncompressed. And if I press save, you can see the progress there. It's quite quick for that size. And we can see here in the scratch pad the FreeF file, so that's the important like digital negative, and there we have the TIFF also shown. So you can also save to pictures should you wish, and this will only save your process version, so your TIFF file or your JPEG file. I don't know why I'm saying JPEG, always try and save as a TIFF. And there we go, that's now set up here in our pictures. You cannot save the FreeF files to pictures. You will need to drag them to, probably the best thing to do is to drag them to your file store on the TBM drive. Okay, so as a comparison, if I now change the size to, well, let's go for say 50 centimeters wide. Okay, that's at 82%, so just under the maximum output. And if I press save now, I'm just going to retitle this quickly to say prevent me from saving over that original TIFF. And there it goes. It takes a little bit longer for a file of this size, but it's still fairly quick, I think, considering. And then if I check the new image and just check the dimensions on that, and you can see that's 130 megabytes almost. So that's quite a significant file size for that. Okay, so that's really the run through of the FlexTight X1 film scanner. Finally, when you're finished, remove the FlexTight original holder, and if you shut the door, that's it. Thank you very much.